Chicago is a city I probably never would have thought to visit if it hadn't been for LeakyCon. I think that's going to be one of my favorite things about going to conventions throughout my life, getting to experience cities I would not have previously considered. Chicago definitely impressed me. I don't really know what I was expecting from it except for a moderately sized American city. For some reason, I thought if you've seen one, you've seen them all. What I got was a place that reminded me a lot of Manhattan, except not quite as crowded and with more varied architecture and better landscaping. As we approached the city from the south, I remember being in awe of the skyline. I've always loved city skylines, but I've often found that they promise a beauty that doesn't usually exist within the cities themselves. But the promise of Chicago's skyline rang true. The convention hotel is only a short walk from Millennium Park. As we walked with the city on our left and Lake Michigan and the parks on our right, I found it impossible to keep my eyes in one place. I was in awe of how seamlessly the old architecture seemed to blend with the new and how perfectly the buildings seemed to integrate with the greenery of the park. The walk to Millennium Park, of course, led us to Cloud Gate, which is a sculpture more commonly known as the Bean, and was all I really knew about Chicago before coming to the city. For some reason, the sculpture mesmerized me. Maybe it had something to do with the way it seemed to make everything it reflected seem both larger and smaller than it actually was, both the city skyline and myself. Or maybe it was because no matter how long I looked at it, I couldn't figure out how another human could have fashioned it, whether as a physical object or simply an idea. After LeakyCon, I made it to the top of Willis Tower, which was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. I never thought that I was afraid of heights, but there was something about looking down on all those other skyscrapers that had seemed so massive from the ground and now just looked like tiny Legos. As I was wandering around the city, I wondered what it was about these few square miles that had inspired so many millions of people to settle here. I wonder this about many of the big cities I visit, but for some the answer seems obvious. New York City was the gateway to the United States for the first 100 or so years of its history. Los Angeles had fantastic weather and it's basically the entertainment capital of the world. Whatever that was that originally drew so many people to Chicago is perhaps a little more subtle, but it is no mystery to me why so many people want to live here now. Like I said, today's video is going to be a questions video.